and welcome to a show all about HEX. My countdown is still going because I have a YouTube tab open. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for this coming to the stream. In Australia, I stuffed up the timing, so I'm an hour earlier than I expected, but I was ready because I'm a champion. Georgia, how are you going? Hey, Hod Pro.
Hey.
Hello. Hi, ladies. How are you doing today?
Super, super excellent. Oh, I like your outfit. I'm white and you're black, and we're MJ.
I'm black. You know what? I'm dressed today. I'm dressed. I have to tell people where I stand. I won't be able to see.
I'm glad that you're ready because I'm an hour earlier than what I expected. But I think this is good to just talk about it in real time.
You jumped on so quick, though. You don't whatever know.
I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Great. Yeah, Hod Pro. I mean, what are you guys? I mean, there's been a big week in the HEX community. I've had my BTC friend go, "What the hell happened to HEX?" And I'm like, oh. And I was at work and I didn't sleep that night. And I was in the office pretending that I was busy. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this conversation, but yeah, sure. So I stepped into the other room and I was like, there was this tweet from Richard and it's all about Ethereum HEX and basically we should all move over to the HEX on Pulse chain. And she was like, what? I just saw the chart and what happened to HEX? And it was like kind of like the same question over and over, which was good, right? Because then it kind of forced me to go, well, okay, it is a little bit more complicated. Let's get into it. So the idea of this stream is maybe to talk about some of those intricacies and the community reaction, which has been fierce. Of course, what would you expect from Hexicans? And I want to know your reaction as well, ladies. What's your reaction to how it's all gone down?
Do you want to go first, April? Or do you want to go first? Go for it, girl.
So Claus is a real pal, and the moment that tweet out, I got a message like, "Oh my God, there's a Richard tweet!" Like in the morning, and I had my phone on silent. But let me tell you something. That's a true friend that lets you know when something happens. Like, hey, you know what? Look at what publicly happened. In other words, kind of like wake up or get out of the garden and look at the chart. So I really appreciate that you wanted to communicate with me and that. And I had some tweets from other Hexicans too. So that's cool. We got each other's backs on like that news. And, there aren't a lot of communities that are like that, where people let each other know, when something like big like that.
Well, I was watching a natural disaster documentary, which is kind of funny, but sorry. I was at the bottom of Everest at the time, and then the avalanche was coming down, and they were all jumping in there.
You love those things. That's right.
And then I was like, tweet from Richard. Yeah, what's this about? I'll stop my show. Let's have a read. I was like, oh, it's 3 times. And then I was like, I was already like the avalanche was falling. Took me too long, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. As far as liquid, I'm mostly in PHEX anyway, just because of
because you listen to Richard from day one.
Well, yeah, the thing about it is, and I'm an eHEX believer as well, but as far as the ratio is concerned, he had to fork Ethereum because the fees were expensive, right? And so he's not really saying anything that's new. It's not that eHEX is dead or it needs to not exist, or does it suck more than PHEX functionally? Yes, because it's more expensive. But I do think that since that tweet happened on a Sunday morning, that it was planned, because Richard knows that gas fees are generally lower on a Sunday. And not to mention, one side of that bridge ended up being free and the other didn't, right? The Ethereum to Pulse chain was free, but the other, from what I believe, the other way around actually ended up having fees again. I didn't use it, but that's what I had read. So, I mean, that was a tip off as well. As far as the, what the point of all this is, I mean, I don't know. I'm not Richard. I don't know what his plans are, but I'm not a non-believer in eHEX. In fact, I didn't sell the little bit of eHEX that I have. I'm holding on to it. And I have a theory about eHEX that even though it technically sucks more, and it does because it's more expensive to to stake and unstake, although it has the property of being easier to onboard at the moment. Eventually, there might actually be less eHEX in the supply, right? Because people aren't going to bother unstaking if it's too expensive, or some of them might forget about it or whatever. So long term, I don't know. eHEX, even though the gas fees will be astronomical, because I think that Ethereum will go up quite a bit, might actually end up paying okay as the one that sucks a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what percentage of the pool you are, depending on how much you want to hold and what you do, even the staking might end up being, more of a payout per share. So, whatever. I'm not too stressed about it, to be honest.
We're gonna get into it. I've got all of these tweet reactions, and I can see the chat there. So welcome to the chat. We got True Blue, we got Lazar, we got Fox Mulder, we got Drix, we got Moondog, we got DJ Pollywood. Win, thanks for coming on. Georgia.
Whoa! First of all, I'm sorry to everyone who is being stressed, who has been affected by this, by all this movement that probably you were not expecting. I think it's very important to listen to Richard directly from the source, because every time that I talk about someone or something, I think about me. I get myself as an example. I say, Georgia, what happened? How did you were on the safe spot and you were able to figure out what the best scenario would have been for you and for your little bags, right? And yeah, because I've been listening to Richard, and I go back and I listen and I re-listen over and over and over again. The problem is, there was a problem with Ethereum, the gas fees. You know the story. He gave us a solution. That's why he created Pulse Chain. And if he would have said in that moment, that was up to us to do our own homework and realize, and come on, they're telling you there is a road that is going to be the most difficult road. Maybe you can pass it, you could get to the end, but most likely there's going to be an avalanche, like the documentary that a class was watching. And yet, instead of going through the safe road, which is Pulse Chain, you decided to stay in Ethereum, which is fine. I have my stakes in Ethereum, and I think that with the backs I'm going to get with my HEX and Pulse Chain and all the ecosystem in Pulse Chain, I will be able to take my Ethereum bag out. The things that I have stake. I had so much to write, and I wanted to make sure I was not being emotional, because you know me, I speak from my heart. And
doing great.
Today I saw that eHEX on Pulse was still pumping even more. What does it tell me? Let me pull the thread and find out why they're doing that. Because they still believe in Richard. They still believe in HEX. They still believe in Pulse. What it could happen. It doesn't matter if it's HEX on HEX or eHEX. There's people that still believe in HEX, period. What worries me is that there's a lot of people out there who are trying to attack the community, and they're using that vulnerability that the community has at this moment. Just, not everybody, because it's not the sentiment. When you look around, it's like hearsay. Everybody, oh my God, everybody's abandoning this. I don't see anyone around. I look around. Are you abandoning? No. Are you? No. So who is that person? Maybe there's people who are trying to attack the ecosystem, who are using, and it's so funny because I always read this. This is one of my favorite books. I don't know if you see it. It's called Propaganda.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. There are many techniques, guys, that they're used to feed from that sentiment to move masses one way or the other one. Propaganda was used in advertising and publicists and things and presidents use it to affect the voters. I think that the ecosystem, Richard, we have our quarterback. Imagine that we're playing a football game, guys. And I like to play soccer, but it was pretty much the same. we have a coach that from the beginning to 2020, 2021 was talking to us about a strategy. Okay. And we have Richard as a quarterback. We need to protect the quarterback. If we were going to be the defense moving forward, so the quarterback could get from point A to point B or whatever to score. But if we let our defenses down, like people is doing right now, the opposite teams are going to come and try to stop our quarterback. Am I going to let that happen? Hell no. I'm Team HEX. I am Team Richard Hart forever. And I understand there are other projects, but you don't, most important than anything, please take a step back and look at the scenario and see the people who is trying to take advantage. And I'm not talking about only people who have other projects on Pulse Chain. We're talking about people from the outside, from other communities who know how valuable the community that we've been building is. And they're trying to take that energy away. That is the big wolf, the big bad wolf. They're coming dressed, in sheep clothing, but they're big bad wolves. They're trying to take away. You want an example? I'll give you an example. Now we have Mr. Levine, again, someone who did a lot of damage to the community and took a lot of things. And people, they're not talking about the mistakes they make. They're talking about Richard's mistakes. They're not talking about the mistakes they make with other projects, or they're not blaming those people and telling, hey guys, you know what? You came into my house. I allowed you to come into my house once. You took advantage of me. You're not coming again. I will do that. I don't know. I'm sorry if you believe in those projects. That's fine. This is my personal opinion, nothing to do with class or hop drill. This is just me. We have to, you know what we have to concentrate right now? We have people who are feeling down, who are feeling hurt, who are feeling that they lost. Guess what? Pulse Chain could make them win again. So we have to concentrate instead of going around and talking bad things and supporting those people who want to take advantage of us. We need to say, stop. Let's rebuild. It's not even rebuild. Let's go and take care of our house. Let's take care of our quarterback and protect what we have already. Let's not go and chase other people's dreams. We have a dream. We need to get to the end of it. So I have so many things to say, but
well said, Georgia. We're going to break this down, guys, and we're going to start with the tweet that shook the HEX community. I've got it on my YouTube description, and if I bring up the description, sometimes I get stuff playing in the background, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. And while I do that, do you want to react to what Georgia's just said, just while I bring up what I need to bring up?
Me?
Yeah.
I said so.
There's only 3 people.
It's all you.
Hello? No,
I say too many things. Maybe he didn't.
I've
been write down the captions.
No, I
when I play my
YouTube,
I get this feedback loop. I'm sorry. I'll bring it up another way. Go on.
Well, I don't know. There does seem to be a planned strategy to it, especially since it was on the Sunday. I don't know, and I have kind of my doubts on this, that it's any sort of shakeout mechanism, right, going on of, I do understand some people have eHEX and they keep selling, right, whenever it starts pumping. So there's that sell wall, and it's kind of annoying. And, I don't think that has anything to do with it, but who knows? Because let's say you're Richard, right? Let's put ourselves in, pretend that we have the mind of Richard and say, okay, if we have these SAC funds, not that it's necessarily going to pump anything, but let's, what hype you're causing, right? With tweets, with movement and everything. How would you do it? And how would you bring people to the Pulse Chain in the most effective way possible with the best timing possible, right? It's not a linear answer, right? You don't just wait and all of a sudden the SEC's over and then you make a move. I mean, that's not really, I guess a lot of people are expecting something like that. And it's like, well, Bitcoin and Ethereum are also moving. They're also making their moves upward. I think Ethereum will probably overtake Bitcoin eventually. If you're going to pump with, what's the word, like hype, right? Even if it's not actual funds, where do you want to do it? Are you going to do it on the Ethereum side or the Pulse chain side when you have clearly moved massive funds? And I'm not going to say anybody has moved the funds or whatever, but if massive funds are being moved,
it was me. It was me.
Yeah, it was Georgia.
It was me.
If massive funds that we have seen are being moved over to the Pulse chain side, and kind of, brought across the bridge and whatnot, like, you got to kind of keep your eye on it, like, you got to keep your eye on what's happening, where the energy is flowing, right? And this comes from someone who still believes in eHEX. I think it has a function, it has a utility, onboarding being one of them. But yeah, it's nothing that it's not a shock to me what happened. So, maybe the tweet was a little surprising, but.
So I just want to make things a little bit clearer for those people that aren't balls deep in HEX and Pulse chain already, because it's so obvious to us what's happening, but to the outside world, it's probably not that obvious. So Pulse chain was created because of the Ethereum gas fees. And so Richard Hart forked Pulse chain. He did a full system state copy. So everybody got a copy of all of the contracts on Ethereum, basically got copied into Pulse chain. So if you go and load up the RBC details into Pulse chain, and at the time of the fork, you were holding some tokens, then you have a copy of those tokens or NFTs or whatever it is on Pulse chain. So there is a HEX that was on Ethereum, and then Ethereum got forked, and then there is a HEX on Pulse chain. So what we're talking about today is that the HEX community, there's a bit of controversy over basically the community or Richard Hart tweeting that the real HEX is the HEX on Pulse chain, not the HEX that was left behind on Ethereum. And that's what we're talking about today. So Richard Hart products on Pulse chain, the native gas coin on Pulse chain is Pulse. The DEX token or the exchange token is Pulse X. And HEX was copied over. So there's HEX on Pulse chain. And INK is the incentive token if you stake the LP on Pulse chain in the V1 farms. So they're the 4 coin or tokens on Pulse chain. And then the original or OG HEX is on Ethereum. So shall we go through this tweet, guys? So this was 5.5 days ago. Does that sound right? And this is what Richard wrote. HEX is better than eHEX, the HEX on Ethereum. Why? Gas fees.
It's much better. Listen to the words. I'm sorry. I'm an interpreter. HEX is much better. It's not just better. It's much better. It doesn't mean that HEX is not good. I'm sorry. I have to interfere.
No, go ahead. This is a reaction stream, and we're going to pull up some reaction tweets after this, and we're going to. Some of the reaction tweets are hilarious. Some of them are a bit rude, and some of them are people that are really hurt. And I want to say to those people, I'm sorry. Personally, I wasn't too affected because a lot of the liquid eHEX I changed into Pulse after the fork happened. I haven't sold any of the liquid eHEX that I still have, and I still have my stakes over there. Confession, I did try to sell it, but then that liquid eHEX, but then the transaction got stuck and I couldn't. So I was like, whatever. So yeah, we're going to get into all the details on both sides here. My position, I think I've made clear online, and we'll go through my reaction tweet as well. But let's just go through the tweet that shook the community, and we'll go through the chart as well. So HEX is much better than eHEX, the HEX on Ethereum. Why? Gas fees, liquidity, slippage, common sense. We're going to go through all of these in detail and break it down. Why would you pay $1,000 to end a stake instead of pennies? Why would you want crappier order execution, buying into a thinner order book with more slippage, getting less for your dollars? And the same applies if you sold. How are you saving people from gas fees if they have to end a stake on 2 chains instead of 1? Every start stake, end stake, or swap on the Ethereum chain robs users of dollars because of the abusively expensive gas fees, and the real bull run hasn't even started. That's a very important line.
The real bull run has not even started.
The real bull run has not even started. So
There
your
you
average
go.
swap is costing people like $100, and to end some stakes, it's thousands of dollars. Which for smaller stakes, actually there's no point to even end the stake, which is why Pulse Chain was forked. So imagine how high the gas fees on Ethereum might get. That dollars would have went into HEX network participants instead of ETH validators. What if all new buyers chose HEX instead of eHEX? What if all new buyers chose HEX instead of splitting their energy? I told you all this before, but likely some of you don't listen so well. So I'm telling you again, HEX is the HEX on Pulse Chain. Again, a very important line and a clear message for the community going forward. The only part that sucks about saying is that while I told you that you should be very careful about selling one chain for the other, because if you choose wrong, the market will punish you. Probably some people chose wrong. That's also an important line, and I think it holds true going forward. Pulse Chain was invented to make the world a better place, and it is. So that is the tweet, guys. That's a very powerful tweet. I think he's thought about this a lot. He's not sort of flippant in any way.
On a Sunday morning,
It's very
where
clear.
the gas
It's
fees
very
are lowest.
clear.
Or
It's
if you were to
very
move
clear.
your Ethereum, it's cheapest.
Yeah, so we might pull up I'll go to the chat and then we'll pull up the reaction tweets. And these reaction tweets, guys, like I said before, there's a range of emotions in the reaction tweets. So let's just say hi to everyone. Crypto King is here. Hi, Crypto King. We've got an ink lover. I too love ink.
Yes.
Free money.
Sammy, poor Sammy, I stuck at the time. Sorry, Georgia.
No, I say free money. Farm
Exactly.
it. You farm it free. I like free. I like coupons and I like free money.
Sorry to Sammy for stuffing up the time. Let's see what Moondog has got to say. Pulse Chain is a young kid with more potential and room to grow. ETH is the grizzled old man who's breaking down a little because he's seen some shit. Discounting either a false dichotomy, suboptimal. Sorry, class, she just saw my comment. That's cool. Almost made the NFL on accident as Houston, Texas cheerleader. That's a whole other story. Oh, Moondog, show us your moves.
Yeah.
Your picture is like just throwing me in a spin now because I imagine mentally that you're a man, and then you've got the dog picture. So I've got this man dog image in my mind, and now you're saying you're a cheerleader. So this is just like a whole new level of cheerleading that I've not seen before, with like animals and stuff. But yeah, show us some pictures. We'd love that. And hi to everyone else in the chat. Let's keep scrolling up and see what people are up to. This is a new face. I like seeing new face. Her HEX to the moon. Hello to you. You might not be new, but I've just noticed you. Hello. What's your Twitter handle? Her HEX to the moon. Everybody follow. It's she posts it. I'm assuming she's a woman. Force of One has been desaying into Ethereum. Will continue to do so. Yeah, I'm going to give my 2 cents on that later on, and yeah, we'll talk about it. So I'm ready when my stakes come due. All right, let's get into some of the reaction posts. Thanks for everyone for being here. These reaction posts, yeah, like I said, some of them are a bit spicy, and we'll make sure I bookmark them just because it's easier for me to get to. I'm have to go back to find my bookmarks. When you blow up your Twitter, it looks funny. You're like, oh, it's so big, and now I can't find my bookmarks. If I click
You're
on
doing better than I would, Klaus.
There's like a little bookmark thing that comes up, and I did it before the stream. Maybe because it's this thing, it's just so
maybe
big.
the 3 little points thing. Was this
yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, I got it now. I think I was just zoomed in, and now I'll make it bigger. All right, here we go. This is the first one from Dollar Cost. I'll get the sound going. Can you guys see it okay? And I'll get the sound going?
Yes.
Magic Conscious eHEX dead.
Oh my god.
No hesitation.
I love this one. That's so funny.
All right, well, it's been decided.
Done.
Let's go. Let's all go home.
I don't know what else you guys need.
That's so funny. Like, so for anyone that doesn't know the backstory here, this is just so funny. After the Vegas meetup, these guys and Coffee, he was on the piss that night. Like him and Hexy Bastard were having this fake fight. Did you guys see that on X?
No.
That's so funny.
They're
So they were
funny.
having this like karate.
You don't
fight.
spend enough time on Twitter to see, or what X or whatever it is now.
They were like both okay. So coffee. They were both like sloshed, and they decided to have a fake karate fight. But they posted
Oh
it.
no!
Dollar cost
Oh.
videoed it. And they posted it on X. And I was like, are they really fighting or are they fake? But you know when boys, they start fake fighting and then they do their drunk wrestling. Like my husband does it too, drunk wrestling. It's so stupid. He does it with his brother. And then I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just walking away.
It's in their DNA, you know.
He's gonna end up in the ER.
Somebody accidentally punches the other one, and then somebody accidentally rips the other one's favorite shirt. That's my favorite shirt. And then it goes in. But anyway, so this is what Coffee got up to the night before, right? So he and then the next day he was on this big Dollar Cost hosted this big group stream, which was so epic. He had like more than 500 viewers, and there was people like Coffee, there was Funding Jim, there was like all of these major streamers in the same room, and it was really cool. And this is a follow-up. This is Dollar Cost's second follow-up stream after the Vegas event with these two chatting, and basically Dollar Cost has got that the Magic 8 Ball. And they were discussing the eHEX drama, of course, and that was like that was just like a hilarious moment. And they're all hungover, and it's just, oh, that's just so funny.
Yes,
all those man fights can go wrong. So that was like an epic like reaction. Now this is Katie's reaction, right? So Katie did a follow-up stream, and I watched the first part of her stream, and it was excellent. And then you know, she said what she thought, and like I'm going to say what I think in more detail later as well. And like it's hard like when you stream because people are like, oh, you're an influencer, and you're like, actually I'm a person on the internet that doesn't get paid to do this. It's not my real life job. Like I love doing it, which is why I do it. I love talking to you ladies, and there's a very delicate balancing act between like not divulging all your personal information. You know, there might be stuff that you're just not decided on, and then there's what's good for the community. And so when you come and you speak about the things that you like, there's this mixture of competing interests and things that you're not entirely sure about, and you're trying to give, you know, you're trying to say what you think, but also in like a kind of, you're trying to think about what you say as well. So there's a lot going on. And in Katie's stream, she was very candid. She kind of said what she thought about the situation. She was going to degen in a little bit into eHEX, but overall, of course, she agreed with the sentiment from Richard, and she copped a lot online for that. And then she wrote a tweet following that stream, and she said, I was wrong, although I'm all in on Pulse Chain. Although I said favor PLSX, PLS, and HEX on Pulse Chain, I still did buy eHEX. I still told people I would DCA more. Transparency. I'm on stream saying 50-50 or 30-50 because later you don't know what will happen. I'm on stream saying I like the cheaper asset to DCA. Same way I've been saying for months. PLSX is a cheaper asset in ratio terms. Does that make me wrong still? Yes. Am I going to stop? No. In crypto, you never go all in on one asset. Am I up still? Yes. And she goes on. And I just really loved that post because I was like, this is real. Like we, you know, it's a complex situation, and you can't come online and say, this is what I think, because like the world is not black and white. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of moving parts. We're going to get into some numbers and details of things later. But I just loved that tweet because she was just sort of living in the moment and saying, look, you know, I've done that stream. That is what I think, and I stand by it. And I respect her. I respect that tweet a lot. This is a tweet.
And you know what? Who knows what's going to happen? Because today you saw that people still believing in eHEX. So who knows? Richard cannot control the sentiment of the people. You know what people do with their stuff. If not, everybody would have been already in Pulse Chain. So we never know what's going to happen. I'm not doing
it's
anything
already
with my
recovering.
eHEX
Yeah.
pack. Yes, I'm not doing it. HEX. Period.
I'm surprised, but yeah.
HEX on Pulse Chain. Wrapped HEX.
I think eHEX is still dead, and I'll go into why later, but it's a degen play for me. Hey, Sammy, how you doing?
Where is she?
Sammy's just getting ready because I stuffed up the time for her. Sorry about that,
Sammy. We have America. America has daylight savings time except for Arizona. There's only one state that doesn't move. It's crazy.
I didn't realize that. Sorry, I'm late. Yeah,
No,
I was getting ready, class, and I thought I'd just go dark because I'm really not ready. But how you going, ladies?
Oh, good, Sammy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, and I have been listening. I've been listening to what you're saying. And what have I cut in on, Claz? I just heard you say that you're going to tell us more why you think that.
Yeah, so we're going to break it down in detail. So what we did, right, is we just sort of said, how we're going, and then we pulled up Richard's tweet and we read his tweet. We said hi to the chat, and then we're just going through like some of the reaction tweets, and it's a range of emotions in the reaction tweets, Sammy. So we're just going through the reaction, and then what we'll do is I want to pull up some charts and stuff and go through it, and then maybe just put some numbers to my thoughts. And but thanks for being here. And it's totally my bad because on YouTube it's scheduled for an hour later because I stuffed up the EST thing. And I thought, screw it, like I'm all dressed up already sitting here, so may as well just go live. So we just went live.
It's daylight savings time. It screws everybody up.
So we're up to Richard's tweet. After the first tweet, he's given a range of tweets, but this one he's putting some numbers to his thoughts. And this was a tweet that I liked from him. Hexicans are living the dream that migrated from Ethereum to Pulse Chain. Look at the liquidity. Look at the fees. Heck, eHEX even has more liquidity in PulseX than Uniswap. Look at the JPEG. Look at the gas fee. $319 versus 4 cents. 35 million liquidity versus like 1 million. And I went through the liquidity last night, and there is one pool that says 3-point-something million on Ethereum, but if you actually click into the liquidity, the available liquidity is only 800,000 on that pool. So you guys moved all the liquidity to PulseX. You guys sold into what was left, but you all blame the tweet instead of yourselves. Welcome to the consequences of your actions. The choice was obvious, which is why so many made the right one. Maybe in the bull market, eHEX will get pulled along, but the higher its price, the more economic energy would be lost to ETH fees. And that energy could have been more coins bought. Oh my God, my brain is like not interpreting this. I must be tired or retarded or both. Somebody interpret the TLDR, please.
Y'all are blaming a tweet because y'all moved all the liquidity and sold into what was left.
No, but what is this?
That's
TLDR?
TLDR is that's what's it actually stand for? It's
can't remember.
The long wait. It's to sum up a long thing.
Okay.
I used to know this slang.
You're blaming a tweet because you all moved all the liquidity and sold into what was left because you wanted to move to the beautiful, shining city on the hill, HEX on Pulse Chain.
It means too long didn't read.
Oh, didn't read.
So that means if you didn't read it all, that's a summary. Yeah, so that often precludes a summary. Too long didn't read.
Gotcha. The sooner you take responsibility for your actions or realize it's market forces, the better it will be for you. Probably blaming guys that held while everyone else sold. HEX has quite a few traits stronger now than it did a few years ago. There's only so many people in this world that actually care about you and want to see you do well, and I'm one of them. Not financial advice. Past performance is no guarantee of future. And then he's given
Imagine if he would have said from the beginning, guys, move everything to Pulse Chain. Isn't that financial advice? No. He couldn't say that. We need to figure that out.
So he's put up a couple of pools here because he wants to show that the liquidity on Ethereum is not great. So in this V2 pool with HEX and wrapped ETH, the liquidity is 621, so about $300,000 of available eHEX in that liquidity pool to sell into, or available to sell into, because it's a V2 pool. So the V3 pools, you actually have to click into the pool to figure out how much liquidity there is. So I did it for you guys. And basically there's 4 pools that I can see on Ethereum that have eHEX in it. It's paired on a V2 pool with ETH. There's about $300,000 there, the one that Richard alluded to. The 550K one, there's a V3 pool that has 190K. There is, when it's paired to USDC, there's 800K in the V3 pool. And when in the V2 pool, there's 50K. So there is some liquidity on Ethereum. But compared to Pulse Chain, the liquidity for HEX on Pulse Chain is incredibly higher. Let's go through the other JPEGs that Richard has here. So he's talking about gas fees now. So gas fees on Pulse Chain are, and this changes dramatically, day to day, but here more than 5,000x cheaper than Ethereum, more than 2,000x cheaper than Bitcoin.
Jeez.
So that's significant. So
Massive.
gopulse.com and pulsecoinlist.com. Great sort of numbers that you can pull up. So now this is a really important tweet, and I've kind of done this as well. So if you're a whale, you can't really buy HEX on Ethereum. Why? Because there's not enough liquidity for you to enter or exit without massive slippage. And this is an example from Richard sort of demonstrating that about the slippage. So, for example, Bank X has 350 million HEX that it needs to sell, right? If it bridged, the best chance it would have to sell would be to bridge it over into Pulse Chain. And using Proteus, the best DEX aggregator that we've got, they would eat 60% slippage and they would exit with about $400,000. And something that's worth $1.86 million, they'll exit max 400, about maybe up to $500,000 if they did it in small clips.
They should have accepted the offer, right? They have.
Rags to Riches did a tweet. Yeah, Rags to Riches did the tweet, and it basically said Banks X should have accepted the deal or something like that. Oh,
really? I didn't know that. Let's see.
I saw that.
We're on the same page, Rags.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a massive point. Like, if you're a whale and you want to invest in HEX, it's HEX on Pulse Chain because there's not enough liquidity. You'll eat massive slippage. Let's move on to some more reaction tweets. But before I do, from the chat or from you guys, do you want to comment on any of that?
Yeah, I do. I just wanted to say that, I totally get like this is not black and white. And what Richard's done is basically looked at what happened in the last bull run, looked at how much people were paying for Ethereum compared to HEX. And to be honest, during the first bull, we couldn't even unstake our coins because the ETH fees were that bad. And Richard knows it's going to happen again. And that's why he created Pulse Chain. And I totally get why he made that tweet as a detractor, especially to smaller investors who are thinking about using Ethereum to stake, because it will be unusable. And then this is just the beginning. When we hit all-time high, it's going to be 10 times worse. So I totally get it. But then I also feel sorry for people that really believed in Ethereum. There's nothing wrong with Ethereum HEX. There's something wrong with Ethereum, and that's what Richard's pointing out. So yeah, I feel kind of sorry for those who lost money. I mean, I was maybe a little bit more fortunate. I'd sold my liquid a while back, and sort of I've given up on Ethereum, for not just HEX, for everything, because the fees, it's just not worth it. There's just so many better chains out there.
Yeah, and we've got some comments coming through from the chat. Moondog, I've asked if they would take market price before whales try to squeeze them out. There are people interested in doing over-the-counter deals with Bank X. So I'm sure they've got offers.
I think Richard, it's so good that he's willing to take the heat right now than wait until things in the future and see all those people lose even more money or being trapped. It's like, there's a warning. Don't go that way. We're going to put,
it's true.
Get out of that road. You're going to get stuck. You won't be able to go. It reminds me, I think Hexlina posted something about the fires in California. Close the road. He is responsible. He is telling us if you move that way, this is going to happen to you. We didn't say it. We did not say it. The influencers. Then guess what? He waited. He gave Ethereum a chance to change the gas fees. They didn't do it. So I think that's a very responsible move on behalf of Richard Hart, and and people is using that to attack him. And until I see a lot of the people coming forward, the real Hexicans, who, if you're a real Hexican, you did not go to eHEX. You went to, well, no, I shouldn't say that because we have a lot of it. I'm sorry.
But even Hedron, trying to unstake your Hedron, that's just a joke. Like, you can't even do that on Ethereum. Yeah. And even I know the Zen chain.
It's impossible to.
Same thing on Zen on ETH. They can't afford, like, they're getting priced out as well. Like, this is for a reason. It's because Ethereum's shit. That's why.
Yep, it is. So the
what if Ethereum fixes it someday? Though,
yeah, right? What do you think about the dank sharding?
I mean, this is way out of line and out there, but what if all of a sudden the supply has been eaten by how much ETH sucks. And then suddenly, like, let's say 5 years from now, they fix the gas fee issue, and then you're holding an asset where there's less of it.
Yeah,
I'm
this is
pulling out of thin air, but I mean, that is a situation that is technically
It is
plausible.
possible. We need to
But-
take our business somewhere else, take it away
Correct.
from ETH. And if they see how important we are for their ecosystem, then, they can start negotiating and making changes. Right now, if we are going to stay to ETH and they're giving us, like the worst rates, let's take our business somewhere else. Where? Post chain, that's what it was created. Simple as that.
So
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, go for it.
Real quick.
I'm gonna.
I wish that Pulse would be listed on a centralized exchange.
Let's
Same.
I think that would be a lot easier to onboard people, because I think the biggest reason people are so pissed right now, other than whatever bags they hold, but even people that don't have that much liquid eHEX are saying, well, that's how I onboarded, because, you get people to go to Coinbase or whatnot, whatever centralized
It does bring like
exchange.
legitimacy. Like people are looking for that legitimacy.
It'll happen in the future, I'm sure, but I mean, that's just the big unspoken thing of like I'm in Pulse Chain because I'm big on DeFi, among other things, right? So it's funny for me to kind of wish that there is a centralized exchange option
It
for
makes sense though.
Pulse, but it does.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, yes, you're into DeFi, so you get the advantage of going first, right? And as long as you know how to hold, then you keep your advantage. And the idea of having the centralized exchange is then we get massive adoption. But hey, you were into DeFi, you learnt, you educated yourself, and now you do have the advantage because you were in a lot earlier. You were on the cutting edge.
Yeah.
I wanted to say some things about Ethereum because I think the situation is a little bit more complex. I don't understand dank sharding, and I hate saying the word dank sharding, but I'm learning to listen a little bit because Sammy, you've got like a it's your wind chime. Yeah, I can imagine your backyard now and your wind chime. I'm into
Oh,
it.
is there?
Yeah,
I thought it was like one of those
mute.
creepy little baby Lamberts going around, but it's not. It's the wind chime, so I'm into it. When the baby doesn't sleep and all you can hear is that thing that you spin around and around, and you're like,
Yeah.
for my second kid, I had to change the mobile because the noise of the first mobile was giving me PTSD from not sleeping. But anyway, the other story. So yeah, dank sharding. Dank sharding is affecting apparently the layer 2, like Ethereum layer 2s, right? But eventually, like it's going to, you would think that it would work, right? And it would reduce Ethereum gas fees. But in what time frame? No one knows. So part of my strategy is, of course, to keep my stakes because, not this cycle, not maybe next cycle, maybe the cycle after that. If you've got long stakes, then, the world has a way of like rewarding you for not moving too quickly sometimes in crypto. In terms of that's sort of my thought. And Maddie Allen did a post sort of with a similar sentiment. Of course, if you're making a new stake, you're going to Pulse Chain, you're making a new stake. But if the stakes you've already got and it's going to cost you heaps to end the stake, like just live out the stake. That would be not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. But these upgrades to Ethereum, look, I don't understand them a lot. It's just, to me, it sounds like a software upgrade. But the prices never come down. It's just basically Vitalik robbing us blind. If it ever gets fixed, like you should have done that like now, like not later.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, people are getting robbed. But I
don't think the update is effective for Ethereum as yet. I think they're rolling out the updates into their layer 2s right now, and I don't know the full technical details of this. I don't think it has time for us to see if I don't think they've actually executed it for their own chain just yet. But having said all of that, in terms of ETH as a coin or something to just buy, I mean, we all think that ETH is going to overtake Bitcoin, right? I see it as like almost like a stable coin with boosters. So
unless it becomes unusable, in which case they're going to have to fix it because it'll literally be unusable other than someone buying it and never transacting on it. And it can get to that point where the throughput's so congested that it just goes up astronomically if they don't fix it.
Yeah.
But I still think it'll go above Bitcoin.
Russ says, Aussie says shouting and I hear shouting. I hear shouting, Russ, which is why I find it so funny because I have this visual of somebody like shouting and I'm like, it's funny. And then I just like, I don't even like engage in the concept because I'm like, shouting. But the other thing I wanted to say about Ethereum, I'm actually bullish on it as a coin, as a way to DC out of Pulse Chain. So you all know I love PLS the most, right? Because I do, and I do all of this other stuff so that eventually I can get more PLS.
Turn that necklace around, Claus. We know there's a pulse on it.
I need one of those necklaces. I need to order one of those.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so the way that not financial advice, but one of the ways that I'll DCA out is to put my Pulse in a pool with wrapped ETH. And then as the Pulse price goes up, you're getting more wrapped ETH. And for me personally, I think ETH is a solid as fuck investment. And so that's one of my strategies. And you're earning ink at the same time. And you're not ruining the chart by just dumping on people. And also, like when you do need to exit towards the end of the cycle with your Pulse, we should be thinking in cycle terms. Then it can be difficult if everybody is trying to do the same move at one time. You get stuck in this transaction frenzy and you can't execute what you want to execute. So yeah, we live in the people that are listening are probably into DeFi and crypto pretty heavily. So I don't need to tell you guys this, but we live in 4-year cycles. So at the top of the cycle, you're taking out a lot of your liquid and then you're going into something like BTC or ETH, and then you're going into stable coins when those things are dropping. And then you're waiting a couple of years, and then you may as well just take a nice beach holiday for a couple of years and then come back.
A lot of people don't know about the 4-year cycle, though, Claus. You'd be surprised.
So true.
I know that people
never heard about it.
And I actually at work, I spend a lot of the time when people say crypto, I'm like, crypto lives in a 4-year cycle. So like it goes up over the 4 years, and then you're meant to sell most of your liquid, go into stables, and then come back later. And they don't understand that, I'm just going to leave it there and I'll just see what happens. It's like, well, but do you understand when the end of the cycle is? Staking is a risk, and it's a risk that comes with a reward, right? And you balance those two things out. So when you stake super, super long, some people, there's a narrative that that's the safest thing that you could ever do. Well, crypto is such a chaotic, fast-paced thing. That's actually a risky move, right? But the reward is higher because it's a more risky move. You don't know what's going to happen in 15 years. I'm not saying don't stake 15 years. I'm saying you're taking a risk because that's a long time in crypto for which you would get, hopefully, a massive reward if the thing that you have conviction in works out. And I think for me, HEX will work out. But generally speaking, we should work and think in 4-year cycles or multiples of 4-year cycles. So 4,
Absolutely.
8, 12. Yeah. So for me,
agree,
like with
Clay.
my long-term ETH stakes, I'm thinking 12 years. I'm not thinking 8, I'm thinking 12. So I don't care that Ethereum price has gone down, because if I'm thinking in 8 to 12 years for my Ethereum stakes, because I have conviction in HEX, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and if everything looks perfect and Pulse Chain is well established, who knows? If there's not many people holding eHEX or wrapped HEX, couldn't the coin do, or the token do, another 10,000x?
Say that again.
Maybe.
Georgia,
I'm saying
I was in a little
the HEX story on ETH could repeat again on Pulse with wrapped
Absolutely.
ETH. Could be with wrapped HEX.
These whales bought eHEX. The price went up, before sacrifice and everything.
I want to bring up this liquidity. So
that was all on Ethereum.
I want to tell you why I think the liquid eHEX is degen. I want to show you why. If I can bring it up, because
hey, Hubprol, I was just wondering what's your opinion on what's going to happen to Bitcoin as we approach the halving, and what's going to happen after? What do you think we'll see in regards to price?
I don't know. Everyone says, it's going to pump, and it'll be volatile. I don't know what way it's going to go. I think that something will happen, even if it's not the system itself. People buy and sell the news. So either a pump and a dump, or a dump and a pump. Probably, you know what I mean? I wish I could have a better answer, but I really don't know. And I know it's a weird election.
It's hard to tell. And some of those futures. Well, some of
So-
those futures were ending as well this weekend, or this at some point this week. So, we saw that it dipped like 3 or 4 or 5,000 in like one day. That's a huge dip, but
Yeah.
with these, big ETFs in, I mean, personal opinion, I think the price might hold up, pretty well. Having said that, I'm not saying we're not going to see dips like we saw the last couple of days, but now we got
I guess
big
it's
players.
volatility, and then it ends up kind of the same for a while, and it slowly goes up. That's my guess, but
Yeah,
volatility immediately up or immediately down, I don't know. Probably immediately up and then a bump, dump. It's
Do you
just
think there's going to be a
maybe.
massive halving, post-halving dump, Hodpro?
I don't think so, but it's a possibility. Like I think there will be a pump more than there will be a dump, but I don't really know, because sometimes when a volatility hits and it depends on how the news spins it, right? Like, it was pumping and now everyone's selling and it dumps more, it's a big dump and all of a sudden people start buying it and it pumps up again and it pumps way higher just because everybody has their eye on it. I think it'll pump, but I'm not 100% on it.
When's altcoin season, ladies? People are saying it hasn't arrived yet. Some are saying it's in full swing.
It's a challenging one, Sammy, because like the chart is like, it tries to be predictably unpredictable, because the chart almost tries to shake people out in real time, which is kind of like funny, right? But like after the halving, generally speaking, previous cycles, there's been a fallout from BTC, which gives ETH a chance to then shine a little bit, and then alts start to pump a little bit, and they pump towards November of 2024 election time. And then after the election, people are like, meow, goes down again, and then it sort of repeats that kind of little pattern again. So
November.
Like double tops happening, like the end of this year towards November, I assume there will be some kind of election top. And then down, and then towards November of the next year or December, there's another little BTC top, and then ETH and altcoins even after that. So that's a tough wait, right? Because like when BTC tops, say December 2025, you've got this lag, and then Ethereum, and then altcoins or HEX topped. How many days after BTC?
Well, 6 months. 6 months after the Bitcoin, that's when everything's going to be.
Oh, was it 6 months?
Going to be
I think it was. Was it that long?
I don't know, but I
there's
think,
a period.
I mean, that'll be October, November anyway. So right after the whole, assuming there's going to be a pump with the halvening, you know what I mean? If that's going to be.
I mean, for me, like I'm thinking double top, like November to November, roughly speaking, and then maybe a bit after that. But yeah, who knows now with the ETF approval, because, they want it to be really nice for traditional investors. So there's a lot of pump action that's happening super early in the cycle. And that's why for me, like I'm trying not to think, to be honest, I'm trying not to be too greedy. I'm trying to DCA out.
I think it'll pump overall a bit.
I think we'll be surprised by how well everything does. You have to pace yourself like emotionally, right? Like we've got a long way to go for the end of the cycle. Like end of 2025 is a long way, and there's going to be some massive pumps in between now and then. And so strategy becomes, crypto is complex, right? You got to do your own research. You can't listen to any one person. Like you should have a hedge outside of Pulse Chain. I've said this before, like a 20 or 30% hedge outside of Pulse Chain. And then within Pulse Chain, you should have a 20 or 30% hedge with what you've got in Pulse Chain outside of your main conviction tokens. And then you should have your conviction token, which you funnel everything into and then DCI out in a responsible way. So it's not the simplest beast. You can't point to one sort of influencer or you said this or you said that. It's like, no, this is complex. Like
whatever you listen to, it's your decision. So act responsible and act caution and take responsibility. That's all.
Exactly. And, take responsibility for your own investing. No one can tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you.
Right now, it's like, don't expect anything from the work of others. Now it's all, I'm sorry, but they're blaming Richard for everything. My husband left me. It's all your fault, Richard Hart. Why do you had to tweet that?
So this is the sell wall. I'm showing you the sell wall on Ethereum for eHEX. And I want to show you why I think this pump is a degen play. So the HEX price at the moment on Ethereum or wrapped Ethereum on wrapped eHEX. Sorry, the price of eHEX at the moment, you guys can pull up a chart, but it's about a quarter of a penny. It was, and then it pumped, and it might be, let's say it pumped to 0.004. I'm not quite sure of the price right now. Let's say it's about.
I think it's 0.003. Let me take a look.
Thanks.
Just so we can be sure, it is 0.00359. It's kind of pumping, y'all. Huh?
So this is where we're at.
Pumping all day. I'm telling you, that's the sentiment of the people.
Can you guys see this chart? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so this is the price where we're at, where the white line is, right? This is the sell wall. So as the price goes up of eHEX, so we'll hit a penny. I'll tell you when we hit a penny. Hit a penny about here. So the sell wall starts at 1.3 cents here. Each one of these blue bars represents, there are actually 15 orders in this one bar. And altogether, this is 350 million HEX, which was $1.8 million. And now you could probably exit out $400,000. So we're over here. People that have held their liquid over the dump in eHEX price has, of course, they've lost out, right? Like they're probably down. What was the price when the tweet went out?
Oh, what did it go down
It
to?
was about 1.011 was like. Okay. The local top for eHEX, which
yeah, so it dumped to probably 0.01. Okay, so it was 1 cent and it dumped as low as a quarter of a. It was 1 penny and it dumped as low as a quarter of a penny. And now the price is, you're telling me it's roughly about the same as when it dumped. It's like 0.003, so it's still about a quarter of a penny. So you've still, if you were holding your liquid, you're still in the red, right? If you put new capital in as a totally degenerate meme coin play, your meme coin play should only be in this zone, right? Until you get used as exit dump here. So your meme coin play can only be between where we are now and 1.3 cents based on this sell wall. So if you're going to be a degenerate, there is no way that you would hold the liquid eHEX past 1.3 cents because look, sell wall. In order for eHEX to get above 3 cents, it has to go through $1.8 million worth of sales. Okay, so if you're going to be a degenerate, which sometimes I am, I won't lie. If you want to buy a lottery ticket, if you want to buy a lottery ticket and you have new money as your lottery ticket, then yeah, I mean, I actually think that it would be like a fun game to play between now and 1.3 cents, except of course people will front run it. Brutes is going to dump on you much earlier, maybe about here. And so, yeah, you want to be a DJ and have a lottery ticket, do it. I probably will, but don't hold your lottery ticket past 1.3 cents for liquid.
Klaus is going to degen into this.
Like with like $100, like literally a lottery ticket.
You know what? $100 buys a lot of it right now.
Yeah,
no joke. You buy $100 of that and stake it 15 years. You see, you'll make your money back. I guarantee.
And that's why, unfortunately, like eHEX, and you guys saw my tweet. Like, it's not dead. It's like currently mostly dead because of the sell wall,
which is when people should buy it. But
people are buying it. I've been in Telegram groups where people are buying it, and they're waiting it to get to the 1 cent, you know, the 0.0001 or whatever it was. You know, so was I actually. I was eyeing off.
If you guys were responsible for that sell wall, like let's say you've been gifted the 350 million eHEX, right? Would you sell it off now?
Hell yeah.
No, you can't sell it now because you'll only get $500,000 for something that's worth 1.8.
Yeah, I know, but I'd leave a little bit.
Bleed
I'd leave a little bit.
What I would do is I guess, you'd have to sell it either way. I'm surprised there's no selling and obfuscating and buying back in a different wallet. Like people, the sell wall's gone. You just you've diversified through
Exactly.
different wallets and hidden yourself. So that alone is stopping it from
the
pumping.
smartest
But
way
it's
for
like,
them.
If I had that money,
I've done that, hot bro. I'm
if
not surprised
I
I haven't hidden their sell wall.
if I had that money, those so many millions of HEX, I will stake that for 15 years, baby, and come back in 15 years.
That's what I would do too. Yeah, honestly, I would stake it out long. Because let's say the dank sharding by some miracle completely cures ETH fees and you've staked it out long in terms of bank HEX. Yeah. So obviously what I'm saying is if you want to make a new stake, your onboards want to make a new stake, then it's HEX on Pulse Chain. But we're just talking in particular about this bank X issue and what we would do if we were them. Like, stake it out. That's what we would probably do. Let's go through some more reaction tweets, guys. These things are going to get fiery. They're so funny, Sammy. You would sell it? You would just take the hit?
Yeah. I'd sell it for Pulse X and Pulse Chain.
Yeah,
and maybe
same.
That's
actually a good point, Sammy, because you would otherwise they would miss the run up for this bull.
Well, who knows what's going to happen? I know, but you gotta. This is crypto. In crypto, it's designed to make a lot out of a little. So you got to, pick yourself up off the floor when you lose money or crypto, and find out how to make it back. And that's when you get good at crypto, you can make it back in other trades. Not that I'm at that level yet, but I know you can. And if you're dedicated, you can learn how. And people do it. People do it all the time.
Yeah, let's go through some of these reactions from the chat here. We can defend Richie without defending bad behavior. And if we are going to protect HEX, Pulse Chain, or even the red, green-headed stepchildren of funny, we must not fall into such an easy trap. Maybe expand a bit more, Moondog. So what's the way forward? Give us break it down, man. All right, what else have we got here? Let's see what people have to say. 1 PLSX more than 1 eHEX. The ratio is off at the moment, but will be a fun slide. Okay. I mean, PLSX is still, it's still oversold, so it's still a good play. I think it's really tricky. I'm expecting a PHEX pump, right? Or a HEX on Pulse Chain pump. So I'm actually at the moment, although the prices don't reflect it, I'm waiting for that. Because what better way for Richo to say, fuck all you haters, than pump the shit out of HEX on Pulse Chain?
Oh, right? Yeah. I think that's just going to be inevitable. I think Richard's outrageous and crazy, and we're going to see that in the next hyperbull. I wonder what the SAC address is doing, though. Didn't Richards or the SAC address just buy up a shitload of ETH and is waiting for it to pump until they make some money and bring it back to Pulse Chain? That's the word on the street.
Yeah, they bought some HEX on Pulse Chain recently, but I think that was just to prevent any sort of emotional. The chart looking emotional.
I think we're forgetting something very important that determines a lot of the movements going on right now. We have to wait for the lawyers. The attorneys are meeting again. It's either going to be the 25th, 26th, or 27th of this month. The 7th was the deadline for them to present their discoveries. So, we have to, there's a lot of elements going around, not only the happening or whatever it's going on within the crypto world, is also the trial, the case with the SEC. So
that's in less than 2 weeks. Yeah,
that's in 2 weeks. And they have to
less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, they have to. They had, or supposedly they moved everything because they did not agree, or they needed more time because of the holidays, spring break, and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, I think they had to present discovery. Discovery, as you know, it's when they give each other all the evidence they have, all the things that they're going to present to the judge. And if I wish a legal advisor was here, someone who knows more about laws than me. The judge hasn't made a decision if we're moving forward with the trial yet. It's just like the judge.
Meanwhile, he's tweeting this out.
Yeah. What?
Right? Meanwhile, he's tweeting this out.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah. So, could you tell us the date again for the potential?
What I've seen on, I go into the courts. Before I had access to. No. I go to.
The other one.
I can't remember the name, but it's I know what you mean. I have an account. I have an account with the court because I needed to get some documents. So long time ago, I created an account, and I'm able to go in and see the dockets, all the documents, everything that has been filed in real time. So far, I don't know. I haven't checked today, but nothing has been filed. But the last thing that was filed was number one, to move the date for the discovery, to extend the discovery exchange until the 7th of March. And now they were trying to figure out a date to meet, with the judge to do the audience on the 25th, 26th, or 27th. I haven't
Monday,
been able to
Tuesday,
see
or
the calendar.
Wednesday.
Yes, and usually
Oh.
when if they file something, it has to be 5 days prior to, business days prior to. So we'll know. I don't think they can ask for another extension. They already asked for 2 or 3 extensions, something like that.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting because the
they're
way
gonna
that
beat the
Richard's
judge.
been,
They're gonna make the judge upset.
I mean, the way that Richard's been tweeting has been a complete change from how he was tweeting before, because it seemed like before, in the last year or two, he was going through lawyers. He was saying very generic or guarded things and speaking in the third person. And there's been a complete sort of 180 into, no, this is what I really think.
Maybe the attorneys already know if they presented it on the 7th. I believe that was the day that he posted something very, very important, or he supposedly the accounts, the wallets started moving money into post chain. I think he already knows, and his attorneys already know what the position of the SEC is and what they have and what the investigation is all about. So I feel it that is very bullish for a client to be with so much freedom to start posting things like that. Is he handling the account? I think so. I don't think he's handling the account. I think he's the one that is writing what it's posted in the account. So
yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but given the dramatic change in the way that he's been tweeting, it's either good or bad, right? So
yeah.
in crypto, that's why I talk about, and I'm open about, a 20% hedge outside of Pulse Chain and staking long term, and you've got to have multiple. Multiple things happening at one time, so that you've got a balanced approach, and also you're also at the same time playing the game that it is going to moon, which I actually do believe that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so heavily invested in Pulse Chain.
Yeah, let's not get distracted, guys. Let's not the outside factors distract us from, the shiny object. Just remember what you're here for, what was the original plan, your strategy, and be loyal to yourself and to your original plans.
Let's go through some more of these tweets, because some of these are just like next level funny, right? Okay, so this is from Louts out. Sorry, I didn't pronounce your name right. I literally couldn't migrate any eHEX because it's staked long term. All good though. I got my copies. The rest of my eHEX will infinitely bleed. I'm not spending $2,600 to unstake ish. So this is just a candid. This is how it is for.
So there's some eHEX that'll be taken out of the system.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
Less of a supply.
Staked.
I feel the same. Mine's just going to bleed away as well.
Bleeding stakes. Yeah. So people that don't know, when stakes bleed out or people emergency end stake, all of that reward goes to the people that are still staking.
Not when it bleeds out.
Oh, not when it bleeds out.
Oh. Yeah, no, I had to learn that later. I did not know that. But when they emergency end stake.
What happens when it bleeds out?
I believe it just goes away.
Just goes from the supply.
I don't know. I'll have to look at the paperwork. I'll have to look at the document again, but it wasn't what I expected.
Okay, we've got a reaction from Maddie Allen. Everyone, it's from Maddie Allen. Everyone thinks they lost because we all have long-term e-stakes that were a future number on a screen that was changing with the price of liquid HEX. Their imagination is suffering. Traders have the mic. I feel good and see the win. Most feel betrayed, however. So another candid reaction from Maddie. Thanks, Maddie. This is from Intune. Looks like I'm buying tons of HEX on Pulse Chain now. Cool. This is from Toby. I hope that I'm actually I actually think I'm away from my bookmarks because this doesn't really feel like what I bookmarked. So I'm just going to go back into my bookmarks.
And you know what? A lot of the people, they're talking about stake HEX. They're not talking about so much liquid. What I feel is for those people who after Pulse Chain, after they got the copies, they started putting money on eHEX. I think, you hit the jackpot already. If you are a stake on Ethereum and you get a copy on Pulse, what is your loss? I don't understand. I don't understand why people say we lost. No, you already have a copy. You're just moving over to the other network, and actually you won because you won't spend so much money on staking. So I think they want to. What is it? They want the pie and eat it too. What? How does that say? They want double
Have your
it.
cake, have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, they want everything, and that is I have an issue with that because that is unfair. That is unfair
Alright.
that they're complaining about that.
But isn't it good that financial energy all go to one pulse? I mean, one hex instead of the other hex. Like, really, it's going to make price much higher. The only thing it benefits is the long-term stakers because they're basically already staked.
Hmm.
All right, guys, we got Maddie Allen. Here we go.
Here you
Crank
go,
it
Abby.
up.
Maddie Allen here with the HEX DeLorean outside the clock tower. Look, Ethereum thinks that they can charge too much for gas. Well, I can power this baby with a bolt of lightning. So basically, what does that mean? HEX is not dead. We're on Pulse Chain. The future is bright. So hit the like and subscribe button. Get the word out about HEX. We're going to the future, baby.
I love that. He's outside the clock tower from the movie. I love that movie.
That's so cool.
One of our wedding songs was that Back to the Future song. So and I used to watch Back to the Future a lot. I love that stuff. More from
Yeah,
Maddie
it's a cool
Allen.
movie.
So only one person on Twitter caused eHEX to go down in price. If you thought it was Richard Hartwin, then you need to look at the chart. He's referring to the sell wall. ETH is going to the moon in the next year, killing most altcoins. PLS, HEX, and PLSX solve this. Long-term hexagons got migrated to pHEX. Short-term people got wrecked. Next bear, then ETH might solve gas fees. eHEX should have a great year in 2028. My average stake length puts me at 2032. So Maddie just echoing the sentiment we spoke of earlier in terms of holding your longer stakes in case those fees do somehow get solved. This is par excellence, reaction. Markets don't like uncertainty, and Richard Hartwin has given clarity to what we already knew. Ethereum gas fees are wrecked. Pulse Chain is the solution. HEX is migrated. Now let's focus our energy on pumping HEX on Pulse Chain. The magic carpet ride is just getting started. Yeah, we haven't even started. Altcoin season hasn't started. And moving that energy and concentrating it onto where you're going to get the biggest moon, it makes sense to me. This is my reaction post. It just disappeared. Let me scroll down. Here it is. It's not dead. It's only mostly dead. So this kind of comes from a concept of like, you can't think in black and white. Sometimes you have this terrible, really awful gray period where you have that glimmer of hope, but there's something inevitable that's happening in front of you. And for the next maybe 2 to 4 years, that's this horrible period that we're in where it's mostly dead. So this is my tweet. Is HEX on Ethereum dead? No, it's mostly dead. The big difference, because you can watch it die over an indeterminate time period. Could there be a miracle whereby someone buys hundreds of millions of HEX off the sell wall, off BankX, or they dump everything right now? It's possible, but ain't going to happen. So truth time, people, wake up. It may not be the outcome you want or need. It is what it is. Lottery tickets, hell yes, we're all degens at heart, but the greater part of our strategy should rely on common sense. Don't bet against the GOAT, Richard Hartwin. So this is me saying, like, in the foreseeable next 4, 6, 8, I don't know how many years, yeah, it's dead. If you want to hold your 15 years stakes, because it's not worth it to emergency cash out anyway, then of course, like, do that. If you want to get a lottery ticket for the next week and then hope that you don't get dumped on and lose more money than what you've already lost if you held liquid eHEX, then do it. But overall, that's my thoughts. I've got way more videos, guys. Do you want to chime in there and I'll bring up some more?
It also depends on what happens to the price of Ethereum. You know what I mean? And how, if the price of Ethereum does go up as much as Bitcoin and there's a lot of activity on there, the fees are going to be astronomically horrible. And yeah, if you can't move on that chain, nobody's going to move on it, right? And that's not just the hexagon empire. It's everything on the chain, including Ethereum itself. People doing the NFTs are not going. They're literally. It's never really been prohibitive. It kind of was when it pumped really high, like during the NFT craze, and like when HEX was pumping high, and suddenly like, I don't know if it's worth it to end my stake, right? And it went back down again. So the gas fees kind of let up. But if it really pumps, if this, Bitcoin halvening thing ends up really pumping everything, Ethereum just suddenly goes up. People can put money in it and invest, like on centralized exchanges, or buy it on Venmo or whatnot. But that you can't really transact on it. You're not going to be able to do much on it. So it is possible that if Ethereum is unusable, that that you literally won't be able to unstake, right? Like it's a small possibility, but if that doesn't happen, I do see a future with it. But it depends on Ethereum, and I can't say what's going to happen with Ethereum.
Yeah, there's factors outside our control, and
yeah. And it's not just market sentiment. It's, what happens on that chain.
Georgia, before we watch some funny videos, and Sammy, do you have any further comments before we watch the videos?
No, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to get some of that wrap Ethereum and Pulse and farm something so I can get
it's like 100% APR.
Yeah.
Glorious.
So maybe instead of like, buying other things, invest in other things, part of my weekly, monthly allowance, whatever, investment will be also wrap Ethereum, so I can prepare for the future. Why not? If it's going up, why not? Maybe that's another one that we can get, but on the Pulse chain, so I'll be able to get it. I cannot even get ETH on ETH. I don't have enough money to buy ETH on ETH. It's crazy.
It's the gas fees are just astronomical.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So Crypto Coffee he's done a few tweets, which I've appreciated his perspective, and this is one of them. So it looks like we've reached max cope. HEX on Pulse chain is the better real HEX due to usability, more liquidity, 6 times higher price, cheaper fees. eHEX, aka HEX Classic, has achieved meme coin status for now. We should really try to message the crypto MSM and sites like CMC that they are unfairly hiding the truth about the 2 hexes and the real HEX price. I'm fully staked on both eHEX and regular HEX in a long-term staking ladder, other than my liquidity plays. Sucks that my eHEX number go down for now, but if this allows real HEX to pump harder and focus more attention on it, so be it. I got free copies of both for doing nothing. As my eHEX stakes come due, I'll personally be bridging it all to Pulse chain on the bridge, selling half in USD for pHEX, or just use some liquid HEX if it's also recently expired, and adding it to the V2 position. I've been doing this for a long time. This is very risky, especially if you don't understand impermanent loss. You do you, but thicker liquidity could help lock the eHEX HEX ratio wherever it might be. I'm not emergency end staking and still not selling eHEX. Anything can happen in the future, but in particular, paying high gas fees to emergency end stake long eHEX stakes and get pennies on the dollar, what still could be a significant one day, doesn't seem right. I don't like selling the bottom. In hindsight, selling all eHEX for HEX on day one was a good move. We must make our own decisions and take responsibility. Still got free copies. At some point, eHEX will find a bottom. It literally can't be shut off. You're free to do whatever you want. New people wanting yield should be directed to buy and stake real HEX on Pulse chain using app.pulsex.com. Buying eHEX as a meme coin, pure speculation is fine. Just do it on PulseX so fees don't suck. Long-term holders in the right stuff wins. I still think this ecosystem is the right stuff. Been traveling, but video soon. So guys, let's talk about, that's a really cool tweet. And I don't know about the farm play because you'll end up with all eHEX, but other than that, I think it's a great tweet. In terms of staking HEX, what websites are you directing your onboards to, ladies?
I like the Icasa.pro stuff for staking and staking right now.
Yeah, but when they do the upgrade, will their website change? That's my kind of...
let me see here.
Because we've got hex.com. I think hex.com might be just the simplest message to tell onboards to, because it has some nice... I'll bring up hex.com. Shall we bring it up now? Sorry, Georgia, what were you going to say?
No, I like the Icosa. It's familiar, it's simple. I'm used to it, and I feel comfortable because it's
I
one of
use that as well.
yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
What about GoRealDeFi.com? That has everything on one website.
Oh, I've never used that.
What is it called, Sammy?
GoRealDeFi.com, and it has the bridge, it has PulseX, it has HEX, it has I think the block explorer,
For me,
everything you need.
yeah,
Have
for
a
me
look at it.
to new page for me to connect my wallet somewhere else, I have to go to the ones that I already have been using. It's scary. The more things that we have available to connect your
Mm.
wallet, it's really it's
Yes, and same with links, guys. When you used to open a message and click a link, even if it's from one of your, like one of the people that you know, we have to, because the links are getting more advanced with the way they scam you have to be super careful. So the hex.com, if you go to how to buy, I think this is probably the simplest way for onboards to learn about Hex on Pulse Chain and what to do and how to mine it. And it goes through a very simple step, and then it recommends go.hex.com for staking. I know in the description of the video, there's other cool links such as hexscout.com, obviously pulsechain.com, richardhart.com. So check out the description. I'm going to go to some of these funny tweets before we finish this because this is...
You can still get to the straight up IPFS link on the hex.com site. If you click mine instead of stake, it says mine.
Nice. Yeah, it's a cool site, that hex.com site. I don't know why I don't recommend it more. I saw Richard tweet it and I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, this is cool. Let's watch this video now. Now, some of these videos there's a lot of FUD and all this kind of stuff. But look, if it's funny, it's funny. This is for entertainment purposes, guys. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start it again. Can you see it?
Yeah.
It looks kind of hot though, like it's a positive for Richard. Oh, the nuts. And it's on loop as well. You can keep watching it. Oh,
yeah,
that was
the only thing that I like, this is so cute, but let me tell you what happened with this. This is something, the memes are very powerful. And the problem is that you have people that, they see the meme that they love, even though they don't agree with it, they don't do anything to tell the idea. If you understand, Richard, a lot of people were quiet, they were not saying anything, and we need people also that believe that the move was right to go out there and at least post something. So
yeah,
it's like a
good point, Georgia.
this is
Everyone
all
was kind of
negative. This is
like,
all negative. This is we're laughing, but this is all negative. You're putting a seed on people's head that Richard is against HEX, period. That he's making wrong moves. That's not it. He had a plan. We did not listen. A lot of the people, not me. I listened, Richard, went to continue buying things on Ethereum because maybe they got greedy because the price went down, but they forgot about what the original plan was. Ethereum gas fees are impossible. I'm building you something that you can live here, get also the same benefits that you were going to get there in regards to the price going up, but you decided to stay there. It's yeah, they're funny, but they're very dangerous and powerful. So the only way that you have to combat that is by sending out the positive message. I think we should all take responsibility. If you believe in still and you want to help those people, the real ones that really lost and they're because of a bad decision or because they were not clear or because they believe on whatever they did. If you want to help those people, make Pulse Chain stronger, make HEX stronger, so we can, they can get back on their feet and get
But
back.
I think you can see by what's happened is how powerful Richard's tweets are and how much influence he's got. Like with Ink, we saw him tweet positive about Ink and it just ran right up, right? We see him talk shit about eHEX. I'm just basically giving a brief description. but we saw it plummet like nothing else. And it happened as soon as he tweeted, it just rock bottomed out. So, I think that message there is that Richard's got a lot of control with just a single tweet.
Yeah, but Richard cannot do it all by himself. We need to help our quarterback, guys. We need to back him up, and we need to.
I understand that, Georgia, but I think a lot of people who lost dollar value have a right to be pissed. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I know for myself,
absolutely.
like if I've taken another hit at the moment, I would have been like really freaking cut. Like, and that's I think that's a point I'd like to make is, I mean, whoever who's responsible for it, whatever. I mean, we all have reasons for doing whatever we do. However, losing money, and I know people that have lost a substantial amount of money from a freaking tweet. I think they have every right to be pissed off because, to be honest, if I lost money, I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah, hard problem.
Yeah, and I understand that, Sammy, and I totally, I feel it in my heart. But what I'm saying is that we need to help you get back that positive feeling. And what do I do? Like putting down Pulse Chain when I know in Pulse Chain you can get, strong again. So I'm going to spend all my energy to make Pulse Chain, to promote Pulse Chain so you can get back whatever you were. It's really sad that you lost, that many people, not only you, Sammy, everybody. So that's what I'm saying.
Oh, look, as I said, I didn't lose out. I sold my eHEX prior, like the last top that we had. I sold out mine for Pulse Chain, the liquid that I had. I was so, like, when I woke up and saw that freaking everything had gone to shit, the first thing I said was, thank God. Like, as much as I didn't have that much, I just didn't want to take another hit this year, like, And the thing with crypto, you can make a lot of money, but you can lose a lot of money as well if you don't stay focused.
Yeah, and besides, you know what? And Sammy, just so you know, that is how vulnerable our community is, how dangerous it is, because a lot of people lost a lot of money, but not because of Richard Hart or the or HEX or PLS. They lost a lot of money because there were other projects that they believe in, and and I have I believe in other projects too. And unfortunately, they were hit once, and then again with this one, maybe their sentiments are very, strong. They feel more than some of us. So we need to help that. We need to make sure that people is feeling better. I think that's the most important thing. Go back and understand what they're going through, and don't just like say, oh, I'm sorry. What are you going to do? What is Georgia going to do about it? What can I do to make those people feel a little bit better? Just
it's been such a big week, and like before Richard made this tweet, I was speaking to my husband about it, and I was kind of getting sick on stream because like on stream it's such a delicate balancing act, saying what you think but then not just spewing things unfiltered, because if you mention any coin then people, they think, oh well, she likes it, I should just buy it, without understanding like what a complex system things can be. And so before Richard made the tweet, I was talking to my husband for the last week or two, I said to him, look, I really want to come out and just publicly say that I really don't think eHEX is a good idea. But instead what I was doing was only mentioning the Pulse Chain products without mentioning the eHEX. And when Richard did the tweet, I totally agreed with him, and I messaged him, not that he ever messages me back, of course. It's like a one-way street there. I said, look, it had to be done. And I sent a love heart. And then I didn't sleep that night. I've been feeling like really awful all week. Not because I personally lost money. I didn't really lose much money at all. I didn't sell my stakes. I couldn't sell. I told you I had a transaction stock. I couldn't sell my liquid, although I'd already swapped most of the liquid anyway. So for me personally, I wasn't taking a financial hit. It wasn't about my personal financial bags because I didn't really get hit much. But it was more just the fact that my friends were getting hit. And I know that they were getting hit big time. They weren't getting hit little time. And my heart was like really sad because I was like, oh, like just oof. Like that's just like in one tweet, like yes, it was bleeding out slowly. It was going to die. It was bleeding out. But you saw the chart like after the tweet. It was a big drop. And so, it's been a challenging week in terms of like me feeling sad about it. And when my BTC friend was like, oh yeah, so what's happening with HEX on Ethereum? Like, what the fuck? Like, just wanting to talk about the chart. That's okay for her to talk like that, because she doesn't have friends that just lost a whole shit ton of money. And then you're having to explain, actually we're moving forward with Pulse Chain HEX, but some people, it lives on with the stakes, blah, blah, blah. And going through all the details. And it's a hard emotional time for the community. And so what it's left me with is, okay, I need to become more truthful with how I stream, and maybe say things that people don't like, if that's really what I believe, which is why this stream I'm talking about my hedges, I'm talking about DCAing out in real time and playing both sides of the game. Richard changed the way he's tweeted, so I'm playing both sides. It's either really good or really bad. I'm not going to screw myself either way. So, and then being honest that I think eHEX is a degenerative play with Liquid right now, but that I'm not unstaking. So I'm trying to be as honest as I can. These tweets are very powerful, but it gives those people that are really hurt a way to express themselves. And some of them
I respect that, Claz. I respect that. But can I just also say, wanted to add to what you're saying now, is that there was also people working on things that, they built on both chains. So, like Pool Party from Maximus DAO. I think that, it was that Tantanimi guy. I know that Magic Carpet Ride were building Pool Party on both sides. I know that Alex from Hedron was building things on both sides as well. So I think also not just financially people took a hit, but people also being disappointed because they've been putting in hard work to build these great things on both chains, and now they're really disappointed that Richard's favoured the better looking child.
But it's sad in a way because, I suppose everybody is kind of, I think it had to be done, but what kind of shakes people is that within one tweet, there's been, the price did significantly drop, and people think, what? But I've always staked, I'm not going to unstake. Like, that's part of our narrative, right? But we do need to adapt. So like I said before, like, crypto is complicated. We have a leader, a founder for a reason, to give direction. And like Doz said on his last stream, like, he's the captain of the ship. We're on the ship and he's making difficult decisions that need to be made. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but you're a team player and you move forward. And like Sammy said, there are people that have lost out, people that were building it affects their products on Ethereum. And yeah, there's no simple thing that I can say to make people feel better that have lost, basically. It's been a hard week for the community, I would say.
Well, I'm going to come in and say kind of the more heartless approach to this, but it's honest. When some news comes out and it drops the price of something more than you think it should, what you do is you buy, right? Let's say, for example, that Richard didn't disparage eHEX, right? He never did do that tweet, but hypothetically, there were some SAC funds that suddenly bought out pHEX astronomically and totally kept eHEX alone. Would that disappointment be the same? Probably, right? Maybe not that people technically didn't lose money, but it's one of those things where at some point, if something's going to pump or something's going to happen that's drastic, unfortunately, there are some people that are going to be left behind, whether it's on the pump, whether it's on people picking one side or the other. I think that the tweet was quite a volatile way to go, but I don't know how else you would tell people, hey, you need to get into Pulse Chain HEX instead of this, because I gave you a free copy. So you can't say that I didn't give you a copy if you were staked. I've told you to stake, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm of the idea, even though the liquidity is low, especially right now, that it'll go back up again. Not as much as pHEX, but I don't think you should sell right now. This is not financial advice, but I mean, you have people looking into actually getting into it. You know, who knows what Alex will build as well, as far as some of that cross-chain action on the Hedron system. We don't really know. Nothing much has actually happened other than conjecture. So I don't like it at all when people lose money. But if anything was going to happen that's drastic, whether it's a pump or a dump or anything, and people want something to happen on here, some people are going to get the short end of the stick at some point. And I don't like that fact at all. But all I can say is, if you think something will go back up, don't sell it yet, right? If you believe in Pulse Chain, maybe DCA into it. But that is what it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that people, especially new people coming in the ecosystem, if they were to stake on Ethereum, they're basically going to lock up their money because it's going to cost them 5 times to get it out.
If Ethereum pumps like it's looking like it will, then yeah. I mean, if you can't unstake it, people are already unable to unstake.
And they won't know that. They won't know that unless you've gone through a bull run and known what we went through last bull run with the staking. They won't know that. So that's why I see. Oh, you can, but it still costs money, even though not as much.
Well, I mean, not with the price. Like, you can't even good accounting when the gas is astronomical, because that's expensive too. So you can't even prevent your stake from bleeding out.
And I think that's where it's not.
Sammy. Oh no.
Sorry.
Oh, no.
As much as people want to beat Richard up, like, there's more to it, and I think it's more. He's probably saved a few people. Rather than, he's probably done more good than harm, because we all know Richard is a good guy. He means well.
I mean, the thing that I can't get past is the sell wall, and also certain people using it like not you, Hodpearl, but when you get people that pump and dumpers, like notorious pump and dumpers, start shilling eHEX, it's not that makes me a little bit nervous in the short term. But like I said before, like in terms of smaller, I've spoken about this on Spaces before, but maybe I'll just mention it here as like an overall strategy that I do, is like, you have your core conviction, right? And you shouldn't be shaken from your conviction. Like for me, Pulse and HEX are my core convictions, more Pulse than HEX, and HEX on Pulse Chain. And PLSX and Inc. Are almost on the outer rim of that core, because they're just feeding into the core. So that's my core, and my ultimate goal is just to build the core towards the end of the cycle and then DCA out responsibly. And then around that, you have the major things, like you got your Power City, you got your icosahedron, you got your, your Fame, Fiat, not that I would leverage trade, but if you were just staking the tokens, you've got those major kind of things on the secondary kind of system that you could use arbitrage and different staking features to feed again into your core. And then on the perimeter of that, you have meme coins, and you have new technology and innovation and AI. And they can make you great gains, but very short-lived. You have to watch the charts, really stressful. You could lose everything that you put into it. So you're putting a smaller percentage. You can earn more, but extremely short-lived, like you have to watch the chart. And for me, like those outer core thing, the meme coins don't live on Pulse Chain. They're things like Floki, Shib, Doge. They're things like Pepe, and they're not on Pulse Chain. And the pumps happen usually within the week. And you have to pick the right week, and you have to make sure that you're not getting at the top of the pump, and it's extremely risky, which is why it's an outer meme play, right? And then you should have some more stable things that are outside of Pulse Chain. But at the middle of it is the core, which for me is like 80% of my whole bag. And it's because if you want to make it in crypto, you've got to have conviction, and your conviction may or may not work out for you, but at least you
if you're right holding, definitely, yeah.
It's right or die. It is what it is. So like with the liquid eHEX, you want to have some lottery tickets and stuff. It's just on your outer meme coin kind of play area. It's just a different way of looking at things. You could use a very short-term mindset, and you could do very well from it with a very small amount of money. It's just about balancing risk in crypto, and you have to be educated in your conviction coins and things that you're getting into, and you have to realize what kind of risk level is it. And the higher the risk, the more you have to watch the chart, which you might not be able to do. You have to go to work, you have to drop your kids off, you have to sleep. They could die when you're sleeping. So it's about risk stratification, but also having conviction and not screwing yourself. So it's a delicate balancing act. And then, you know, trying to earn yield on farms is a fantastic way of boosting your conviction coins. Like farms and earning yield, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Like, look how well Inc is doing at the moment.
Well, it helps the whole community because you're adding liquidity, right? You know, I mean, you're literally inviting people with bigger bags to come play, because why would they if there's no liquidity?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you're, you know, it's kind of a good faith measure as well.
Let it out, Georgia. I feel like you're just holding in lots of
No,
stuff.
I'm holding. I'm listening. I'm listening because every single word that you guys said, it's super important. And what I have to say is sometimes compassion comes in a way of tough love. Sometimes, you know, we need a brave one, like in this case, Richard, to tell the people the truth. And I think now we need to take responsibility. And if we know what happened in the last week, we have to now see the future. What are we going to do? Are we going to still do what responsible thing we have to do now from moving forward? I think going back in the past and trying to figure out what happened in the past is not going to help us in the future. So let's move forward. Let's try to build something strong so the affected people could feel comfortable, because they need to feel. I think that's the most important thing, to earn not their trust, but to make them feel at home. And very, very important, don't let the propaganda, the ones who want to take away, the ones who want a piece of you, and they're going to take you away, and they're going to take away from you what you build. Don't let that affect you. Don't fall for the wolves who are dressed on sheepskin or sheep clothing. That is very important right now. They're going to be vulnerable, and they're going to be attacking. They're going to try to get in. Don't let, just defense. That's what we need to do. If we were in a baseball, not baseball, in a basketball game, I would be like going defense.
I love
We have
that.
to do defense. We have to defend what's ours. Pulse chain is ours. It was built for us. Defend it with all your strength. We have to do that.
I love that, Georgia. With
You're
your
already-
Well,
conviction,
the bridge out has put a defensive fee. So
yeah.
there's a financial defense a little bit on the other way out, but not. I mean, it's still free from Ethereum to Pulse Chain, and that alone, that speaks volumes to me. You could say nothing about eHEX whatsoever, and that shows that's a conviction of a strategy. Like, you have to get in here now. You got to get in.
I mean, we're always practicing, you know, what if things go wrong, but I don't think we probably speak enough about what if things go right. At some point, I truly believe the case will be resolved or in our favor, either way, neutral or in our favor, whatever, it's resolved. In which case, like, can you imagine the candles? Like, we get listed on major exchanges after that. And again, can you imagine the candles? And we've been in it from the start. Like, we've
maybe imagine the candle on eHEX too, if that were to happen. I mean, technically, normies are going to go, Richard Hart won, and they might buy up that eHEX.
And you know what?
Without knowing all this stuff, it's possible.
It's 1.8 million. It's not insurmountable.
And are you going to get what you worked so hard for? I'm not gonna let my bags go. I'm not. I'm gonna keep them, and I'm gonna continue growing those, because that's what I can do right now. That's one thing I can do. Just continue my plan. Your plan.
So I think people should also think, you know, this could actually work out very, very, very well for us. So well that after the halving, I'll probably stop streaming altogether and go off social media, because why would you?
Wow.
Because why would you risk it? Like, why would you wait until, you know, then it's sort of like risk. So I think everyone in the chat, we're so early, and I think, like, we have to be grateful before the fact, right? If you can see something that's going to be so glorious,
I
have
want
to
to
be
stay. Yeah, I'm gonna stay here for 15 years. I don't have a date. If I get wealthy rich, guess what? Georgia's gonna have a budget to do a lot more crazy things, to stream even more, to have
That disco ball is going to be rotating.
this
We're gonna have a rotating ball.
like this. I have lights. I
It's
have
gonna be gold.
producers to
Gold
push the button.
plated.
I will go. You don't understand. It's like
She's
an
going to have
obsession.
DJ Lethal in the background.
Yes,
Going
I'm
down
gonna
the
be
beat.
like, you know
Oh,
what? There's no stop. I'm gonna be here for a long time. I absolutely love what I'm doing. I might not be an expert on crypto, but hey, we all learn. And I want to prove. I want to show those people who are just starting that, just like me, you can start learning. And if they want it, come on. When the money shows, the nice, pretty 20-year-olds are gonna show, and I'm like threatened, but still, it's okay. It's
I love
okay.
it.
We'll be like,
Sammy, are you still there? What kind of toy boy do you want, Sammy? Sammy's going to be like a sugar
Sammy,
mama.
unmute Sammy.
oh, she's probably,
no,
she's
probably.
She's off.
Sorry, I'm still here. I'm listening.
We were just wondering
yeah,
what kind of like lovely
We're spending
gentleman will
our
be
money.
hanging off your arm,
Yeah,
like
we're
at the
spending our
party.
money.
yeah. I think I'm gonna play the field. I like a man, a man's man. Someone who's gonna do all my housework
I know
and
you like
do
those
my
tap dogs,
gardening.
those Australian tap dancing people.
I mean,
No, he used to be a real man. No shitty tap dancing.
No, those tap dogs. No, they were manly tap dogs.
it will be like
the
it
wrong
will be
one.
the Pulse Chain Tour Love Connection. That's what we're gonna
Somebody
start.
help me out in the chat. The Australian tap dogs, those hot guys that tap dance, but it's in a manly way.
What?
The tap dancing is not for fellas.
I'm bringing this up.
That's the
I'm
Australians I
Thunder
wanna
from
go
Down
to.
Under.
Those are the Australians I want to see.
We're gonna watch this and then we're gonna sign out. Thunder from Down Under.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Keep going up to try and find.
Yes.
It's worth the copyright strike.
I mean, I guess Michael Flatley was technically a fairly attractive tap dancer, man.
I want
Strong
more.
ankles.
Oh yeah.
I want the Australian. I'm gonna do the tour de Australia. I'm gonna go to Australia.
Oh, here we go. Australia's Thunder from Down Under. Oh my gosh!
Yes.
I'm gonna share this. This is gonna
Oh,
get me.
God.
You're gonna come man hunting, Georgia.
Yeah, let's go, girl. Why not? Men
Let's do it.
Look at
do it.
I do the music so you don't get a strike.
That was so worth it.
Oh my God.
See?
They don't tap dance though, do they? I mean,
Yeah, it's like a.
I hope not.
Okay, so the earlier versions, they used to do it on like. The earlier versions, they were in like the sweatshop, not like a sweatshop, but like a mechanic, like
it's like a hot guy Sparks factory.
Yeah, like a car factory with like all of the, and they used to have like the smoke and stuff, and then like where they used to dance, there was either like water or like a tin can or something, and they were like doing more of the tap version, like this. Nowadays, they're modernized to stripping, but they were initially started, I think, as.
I will add some water in there. Sure. Why not?
Steady, you girls are out of line for this one.
I want to start another stream. I'm going to start another stream.
Oh my gosh! Okay, let's go around and say our goodbyes. Georgia, do you want to go?
What can I say? Richard, if you're listening, I'm sure you're watching and listening. If not someone who's close to you, we are here. You know what? Tough love sometimes, has to happen. So thank you for stepping up and guiding everyone. They didn't realize in almost 7 months what they had to do. and someone had to do it. So let's go for it. You're a quarterback, defense. We're here. Thank you, Klaus, for inviting me to your show.
Thank you, Georgia, for coming on. Sammy?
Thanks for having me again, Claire. I'm sorry I'm late. I was getting ready,
No,
but yeah, it's
it's
been
my
fun.
bad.
It's
Daylight
always
savings
fun.
time. It's
Let's
our
go
fault.
That's all right.
US
You know, it's good to catch up and you know, hang in there. Dips are in the game. We've still got a long way to go, guys. So yeah, let's just keep our chins high and you know, it's gonna come. It's gonna take time.
Thanks, Sammy. April.
All right, daylight savings time wrecks every non-US stream ever, and there's always like a week or two where people are, oh no. So it's really our fault. So I'm sorry, Aussies. I'll be the one giving the apology this time. But anyway, get in on the pulse chain, right? Like, I freaking love HEX too, but there's like a lot of action happening on the pulse chain. So, you know, and I'm a believer in eHEX and pHEX long term, especially for eHEX, longer term than most people want to be. But get on the pulse chain, at least DCA a little bit into it if you're not into it yet. Come on, guys. Come on. HodPro on Twitter and Telegram.
Thank you, HodPro. I'm going to echo that sentiment. PLS is my favorite, and very close second is HEX on Pulse Chain. And yeah, your conviction bags, like Georgia was saying, you protect your core conviction bags and don't be shaken. Because if you sell down your core and then you go regret it and then you try to get back to where you were, you won't be back to where you were. You won't. And that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. So keep your conviction. You know, try not to press too many buttons. If you find yourself about to press a button, have a cup of tea and just think, do I really want to press this button? Phone your favorite person that you can safely talk about crypto with, and maybe maybe think
it's
before
the
you
best
press
advice all day. Don't keep pressing when stuff's moving. Go take a walk around, have some patience. Not always, but most of the time, especially with a pump.
Yeah.
Keep your hands folded
away. I mean, there's potentially some really good news on the horizon, and you might want to think ahead in a positive way as well. I know there's been a lot of heartache this week, and I'm sorry for those people. But also, I think there's a lot of things coming that perhaps we don't expect it, but in a positive way. So also think like that too. Thank you, chat, very much. And everybody have a great night or day.
See you guys.